Hey guys, welcome back to Tremor Trails. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Well, I finally got rid of those old running boards and I finally moved over to Rock Sliders. So today, let's go talk about it real fast.
Start the clock!
Now out of the gate, I have to say that I am pleasantly surprised by how well those Ford running boards actually held up. Only being mounted in two spots, not even on the frame, up in the aluminum, those running boards, for the most part, did pretty well out there on trails. Obviously, the main problem being that they weren't strong enough to really take a hard impact on my breakover angle, and beyond that, the L brackets were completely smashed to all smithereens. But I do have to give kudos to Ford for at least saying that technically, yes, you can take your stock trimmer out on some trails and you're not gonna have your running board fall off. Now, of course, that running board was never strong enough to actually hold up the truck, so if you got into some really crazy kind of trails, you know, you were going to be hosed. I decided that this was going to be the year that I was finally going to move over to some Rock Sliders and finally delete the old running boards. Obviously with Rock Sliders there are so many added benefits, but the main thing being that your frame is going to be protected because there's not that gap under there, and on top of that you can put practically all of the weight of the truck onto that Rock Slider and it's not going to fail on you. Ideally, the best Rock Sliders are going to be the ones that are welded to your frame because that's going to give you maximum support and strength when you have your crazy breakover angle on some really crazy trails. I was looking at several different manufacturers, and I'll be honest with you, the reason I went with the RCI was because I could get them. Some of the other companies that I was looking at were going to take 4 to 5 months, some were 9 weeks, 12 weeks. Everybody had a different time frame, and I never knew when I was going to get them. Obviously, time is money, and so the money went to RCI because they had them, and I was able to get them immediately. Of course, there are several incredible brands out there, and you can do a Google search and find all kinds of different Rock Sliders, but all in all, they're pretty much built and made the same. So like I said, the reason I went with the RCI was I could get them, and the appearance to me looks pretty dang good. I don't have any qualms about the way they look on the truck. I think they look better than what the running boards did for sure. Now with the RCI setup, it's going to mount up into 5 different spots onto your frame, with the last one being almost at the very tail end of the Rock Slider, which I appreciate because that section is going to exert the most force usually on your breakover angle out on some trails. I was really surprised by the RCI bulkhead, that's what I'm going to call it, the actual plate that mounts up to your frame. You're getting full contact and pressure onto that frame with that bulkhead, and so it was a little bit beefier than I expected it to be, and that was something that I was pleasantly surprised about. As far as weight goes, you're probably going to be adding 80 to 120 pounds, somewhere in there. I keep getting mixed reviews, and I didn't actually weigh them, but they are significantly heavier than your running board, so something you need to take into consideration. I'm dang near to max payload on this truck. I would not advise myself to tow a big trailer or something behind this truck, as it would take forever for it to slow down. So it's something that you got to keep in mind as you keep modifying your truck, is making sure that you're not overloading that truck with your max payload. The install was pretty straightforward. If you're doing this in your garage, I would recommend having a buddy because those first 2 bolts are kind of tricky getting them set up. The RCI Rock Sliders do have a slight inversion, is what I'm calling it, about 5 degrees, where it's kind of flaring up towards the top of the truck instead of going down or being flat, something I appreciate as well, which is going to help you kind of navigate if you kind of get caught up on some rocks or whatnot. One thing we did run into with my 2022 F150 Tremor was that the very back brace actually mounts up to the frame itself and is reinforced, and we had to grind off a little bit of a weld right there because that's where they tacked the frame. It wasn't a major thing, but you may run into that if you have an F150 Tremor that's the 22 model. My other buddy that had the 22, he didn't have to grind down that little weld there. So it's just something, the way that Ford is putting together their frames and what month they did mine compared to his, where that weld was where it was. We didn't break the weld completely, we just had to grind it down. So there's something that you may run into. If you run into that issue, like I said, we just kind of grinded it down, cut it some, and then we're able to mount that final bracket to it. All in all though, guys, I'm very happy with it. I don't know what else I can really talk about. They're Rock Sliders. They're power coated. They're made with steel. They're bolt-ons that go to the frame with a nice bulkhead. I'm pretty happy with my purchase. If you guys are interested in the RCI, I'll leave a link to their website and a link over to HaloLifts. They're doing some discounts on them from time to time. You may be able to talk to Kevin or Eve over there. They may help you out as well. As for us, We are ready to get out on some mountaintops if this dang snow would go away. I'm ready for spring to be sprung. We got some other stuff coming up back out in the desert soon enough, so keep an eye out for those videos. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We truly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe think about giving us a sub. We would appreciate it. Any questions or comments down below, I will do my best to answer them for you. Until next time though, guys, we hope to see you out there on the trails. Bye.